Okay, so I'm James Casler. I'm presenting today for the PICAC Narre Warren project. This project was a fantastic collaboration between education, industry and research.
So did you want to go full screen? So
yeah, how do I do that?
Usually control. Yeah, we got to skip it.
Would you mind to use on the week?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's all right.
Make sure you get your tone down.
Awesome, that's better. All right. All right, start from the top. Okay, so yeah, today my name's James Casler and I'm presenting the PICAC Narre Warren project today. This project was a fantastic collaboration between education, industry and research. The shared goals and objectives here. So PICAC is a plumbing training facility, basically run by the union and developed by the union. The research partners in this, so we had IATMO, they're a product research lab and certification, now building partners in the project. The next one, ARENA, they provided federal funding for the technology of the energy pole system we incorporated in the project. There's industry stakeholders. PICAC's made up of the master plumbers, the plumbers union, Subverted training in the fire and mechanical industries. And at the bottom here is obviously the design team, led by FMSA and Hutchinson Builders, who were absolutely fantastic on this project. And the procurement for us was a D&C contract, so that was really successful. Narre Warren is in the southeastern suburbs of Victoria, and it's an extension of PICAC's presence from Brunswick, Geelong, Brisbane and Sydney. So the site here is a greenfield site basically on the edge of the floodplains and previously owned by Melbourne Water. So site complexities, building on floodplain, working out our foundations and whatnot. We also had a federally protected fish, the dwarf galaxias, which is a little small sort of goldfish size fish, just on the left here, just on Centre Road Drain. The curriculum complexity, so one of PICAC's main goals is basically to integrate practical training simulation with the building structure and also use the building as a learning tool, so exposing services, workmanship and basically giving it a real passive sort of learning environment for all times. And the third layer to all this was obviously the net zero energy design that was our overarching ESD element that brought together the project. A little bit of background, so the NZE class that we're going for here is Class A. And simply put, the entire energy use of the building is catered for by on-site energy generation. So the low energy geothermal system that we had and covered off by an expansive solar array, PV array, that's pretty much what the balance was. Some ESD features, so obviously all part of the process here we've got high-spec double glazed windows, we had insulated precast panels, SIPs, structurally insulated roof panels as well. One key little attribute that usually gets left behind is air tightness. That's actually pretty cool. They did a really good job obviously to seal and tape all panels and tape the joints, and we came about 15-20% under our design, which is pretty cool at 4.9. Other elements we have is obviously a 75 litre water storage tank, and that was used for rainwater harvesting and toilet flushing and irrigation. We recycled 90% construction waste. We've got a rain garden, which is just to the left of the main picture there, filtering our stormwater. And obviously we had some hydronic heating and the geothermal, which we'll go into later. But probably one of the key overall, outcomes from this project and following or trying to achieve net zero was the carbon savings that the building gets, which was fantastic. So we've got an approximate sort of 540 tonnes of CO2 per year reduced out of the building operations. And then from a building owner perspective, there's a really good cost savings from the lifetime of the building. From a design perspective, we've got a two-level building. In the middle here is our central sort of hub and meeting space. So we've got our reception, cafeteria, and this is a real multi-purpose sort of industry training, events holding sort of space. On the left, we've got the IATMO research lab, and on the right is our main PICAC training facility. So in here, we've got a typology of all the workshop on ground floor and then all your theory rooms upstairs, and you've got this nice visual link between theory and prac. One of the key elements we have too here is just in this sort of bottom corner, we've got a training structure with an integrated sandpit. And this is one of our key elements of simulating training for the apprentices. So you've got a two-storey mock element, so they do fit out rough in through to drain pipe laying, so that was pretty cool. Upstairs, similar again, we've got our training structure that goes up through a void, we've got classrooms, and we've also got a common lecture theatre too. So one of the key elements, is just that visual link between theory and prac as much as possible being promoted. And these are some images of the building. So this is our south entry, the copper behind encloses our lecture theatre. This is our main entry to the front. So just to the left here, we've got our really young vegetation and rain garden. To the right, sort of pops up a little bit, you can see the lids of the water tank too. So throughout this whole building, we've had an ethos of trying to expose all the learning opportunities. So in this tank, you've got little windows to look in, you've got the pump, explanations on how that works and how that flows throughout the system. One of the key elements is obviously the geothermal. This is a really cool part of the project where, due to being building on a floodplain site, we have obviously heaps of screw piles to use for foundation. We came up with an opportunity here to integrate our geothermal loop with these energy piles, and that's where we got funding from Arena to look into this. Effectively, we got 192 13-metre deep energy piles and then 2,800-metre deep ones. So that little sketch on the right there is a pretty cool way to show you how much work was in the ground, but you don't see when it's finished product. So, an extension of that too, so just on the left here, some of the designs and prototypes of our screw piles. So we had to design different helixes for the ends, and in this one we had to have them open-ended so they could do the screw pile and then do the second drilling for the geothermal. And that was actually a pretty cool process. And then this is just the rig and the pipe work. Even some of the detail in the pipe work too, it was a Scandinavian product where they got extra sort of rifling on the inside, which reduces friction and gives it much more efficiency. So I learnt a lot in services in this project, so from the usual. And basically, just a real quick summary on the geothermal system. So all the geothermal loops came up to this manifold through here, gets pumped into a geothermal heat pump system, and then that provided it for the hydronic heating, water to air heat pump, and that basically then went through all our HVAC to heat all the offices, training rooms, and the open areas. This is a pretty cool image of what was the finished product. So you can sort of see we've got the context around the site. So you've got your wetlands owned by Melbourne Water. Around the edge, we had our little dwarf glaciers fish coming down our right-hand side of the page there. And then you can see how busy that rooftop is. So there's a lot of coordination, obviously in ground, but then on the roof here too. So we just got our full solar array on the roof. It took up every inch, and obviously there's a lot of mechanical kit up there too. And this is just another simple example of all the effort everyone went through from client through to builder of exposing everything. So on the left here is an example of our geothermal and how they connect up. And these are all live in situ displays that we provided.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes? All right, cool. We've got obviously, we try to expose as much of the in-wall stuff from our plumbing fixtures as well, being a plumbing training centre, so we've got our in-wall stuff through there. Some site images through here, so it's our northwest corner. This is our meeting space in the middle, and you can see those display cutouts in the floor through there. This is our open space. That's our little geothermal pump room, which is a bit of a heart of the building. And all this copper work was a fantastic industry contribution through there. They really looked after us, and the workmanship was awesome, so that was pretty cool to see. Similar again, that's our training structure there for the integrated SAM kit and tower. And similar again, that's our visual link through from the theory to the prac, which is critical. Our lecture theatre through here. And then again, that's another shot from our cafeteria. And then you can see how we really showed off that pump room and all that copper work and services. And I think, in essence, the building was just basically a platform to display all the services that you usually conceal. And so from an architectural point, it's sort of like a reverse way to look at it, which is kind of cool. So, and I think when you expose all these services, you start to open up to a real level of high craftsmanship, which usually gets lost behind when it's concealed behind, plasterboard walls and ceiling tiles. So I thought that was a fantastic, journey into, exposing all these learning outcomes, and then obviously providing these students and our next sort of, plumbing and water trades workers to the workmanship that you need to aspire to, because it actually is quite a lot of work and craftsmanship through there. So, yeah, that's a quick summary of our project, so thank you.